I am the Writers Retreat Manager. To give you a visual description of what's happening on my screen, I am a genderqueer white person with brown curly hair, a white t-shirt, some tattoos, and I'm joining you today from Brooklyn, New York. Welcome, everyone. I am super excited for tonight's reading. This is actually the first time we've had an alumni reading in my time at the retreat in the past 4 years. So I hope this is a new tradition we can continue. And I am very excited to welcome our alumni joining us from all years of the retreat. I mean, earlier we had Oliver Baez-Bendorf, who was a retreat fellow 15 years ago. Tonight we have with us Max Passakorn, who was a fellow in 2023 and then returned as a writer in residence in 2024. We have June Martin, who was a fellow in 2024 and also just made the Lammy's shortlist for fiction. Woo! Welcome. We have Erica Turner, who was 2012, 2013.
2012.
Thank you, 2012. Don't ask me about numbers. I don't know. We also have William Kaiser, who was a 2024 Retreat Fellow in screenwriting. We have Milo Todd. Milo, can you remind me of your retreat year too?
How dare you? No, I was 2019.
2019. Welcome to 2019. Next up, we have Taylor Allison Lewis, who was a 2023 fellow. We have Azure Osborne Lee, who was a fellow in 2019 also.
I put it in the chat, but it's 2015, 2016, writer in residence, 2017, 2023.
Look at that. All the credentials everywhere, throwing them all over the chat. Thank you, Azure. And we have Tommy Pico, who was a fellow in 2013. Welcome to our amazing alumni, and welcome to our current 2025 fellows who one day will be right here with us, just like all of these amazing alumni are. So let's get it started. We are going to kick off the night with Max Passakarn. And I am going to pass it to you, Max.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. My name is Max. For a visual description, I am a Asian person wearing clear frame glasses and a very Coachella-esque pink t-shirt. I was in the Lambda 2023 retreat as a virtual multi-genre cohort. It was really odd because we were all online, but everyone else was partying in person. So it's great to, I think, be in this online space. I'm joining everybody from Singapore, where it is currently 8:43 a.m. So I got up early for this. And it's great because I think what I'm about to read is something that I probably cannot read in Singapore in public. So here we go. This is a work in progress. It is in an essay that I've titled The Hardness Essay. And it begins with a quote, which goes, "At some point, as a homosexual, you gotta get muscles or just go lay down somewhere," by world famous drag queen with a passion for makeup artistry, Trixie Mattel. And this is the essay. It is hard to grow up in Singapore, a fat queer person, and not be stuffed a gym membership the moment I walked in like I had an income. Eat this, all the salespeople come personal trainers seem to say, instead of the junk you are fed. It is better for you. As if they were parents trying to feed a recalcitrant child his greens, as if they possessed the secret ingredient that would magically clean up the frazzled life I had been cursed with. What I was supposed to order instead of the happy meals that made me somewhat happy was routine, discipline, or Order. Order meant purpose, meant fitting myself into straight, hard boxes that would enclose my day into little compartments, even if I preferred messy spillage. Order, according to every salesperson strongly encouraging me to sign up for the gym with their judgmental stares and claims of my impending diabetes, was the first ingredient to be fit. It would be irresponsible of me not to acknowledge my involvement in my internalized understanding of fitness, the want I stuffed myself with growing up. The first time I masturbated, it wasn't to porn. Open brackets, ew, genitalia, I thought to myself then, close brackets. But to images of muscular men's torsos I found on bodybuilding.com, a website forum of people, mostly men, trying everything to accentuate the sinews that envelop their body, peppered between workout routines that resembled undecipherable arithmetic code. Why would you ever do an exercise with the word dead in its name? Were photographs of grumpy looking men who grimaced so blood would rush to their foreheads and make their muscles pop. Behind them were audience members at these bodybuilding competitions, visibly cheering them on, while the comments on these forums acknowledged their discipline. I learned words then like bulking and cutting, the only two states these men lived by, synonymous with seasons. Sometimes they put on weight and sometimes they shed them, but it was always under their control. Now, I look at these photos and imagine them like frilled lizards popping the fan around their collar. But back then, I thought of the hardness of their bodies. I put my hands on my torso, which had always been loose and flubby, soft, with jiggly fat surrounding it like a leaking inner tube refilled after every meal. When I vibrated my hands, it would send visible little shock waves rippling across my body. The men I saw online would not feel like that. They would be firm, sturdy, unmovable. They would take every force inflicted upon them and resist it. That was what being a man was, I thought, the body resilient to the whims of the world, steady and rock hard. So when I looked down and saw the boner protruding from my pelvis, I wondered if that was the one part of my body where masculinity existed. I was curious. I touched it, and hardness felt like pleasure. Then hardness was fleeting. When I came back over and over with my teenage libido motivating me, hardness felt aspirational. My first part-time job where I stayed more than a day was at my high school's gym. They were recruiting students from low-income households across campus, and this was the first job I found that looked easy. There was no need for hard labor. My main task was to ensure each student's entry was recorded on a computer with a barcode scanner. Before starting, I imagined myself as an underpaid, couldn't give two fucks part-time cashier I saw on American TV, chewing gum with an expressionless face. But of course, this was Singapore, so we had no gum, and I was Max Passacorn, someone who was so naturally expressive, it was hard to look too cool for school. When fitness classes were about to start, the Singaporean students would stream in, congesting themselves into a giant queue as they rushed to the locker rooms, letting out the tsk of annoyance if the Excel spreadsheet lagged, which it often did. The old computer sometimes hummed and wheezed louder than the treadmills. Plus, I thought before I was hired, if I worked at the gym, I would become certain of my sexuality, why the pursuit of hardness appealed to me despite me knowing nothing about it. I graduated from bodybuilding.com when I realized real gay porn existed on the internet after keying in the innocuous words gay video onto Google with real actors who sometimes looked like they wanted to fuck each other. So I gave up obsessing over the granularity of fitness routines, which muscle group to work with how many reps of what exercise. Even as my sexuality started to surface, as I had grown up wanting the men revered for their physiques, I never thought to myself, I want to be like them. That, I soon realized, is a paradoxical entrapment of homosexuality, something I realized lured other queer men into a lifelong loop of looking at and for their ideal bodies. Just because I wanted sex with someone from the same gender, it doesn't mean I want to look like them. From the gym counter, I would look at people of all body types file through and found myself in no one. Yeah, and that's my reading. It's my time. Thank you so much, everyone, for your attention. I'm gonna pass it on to the now Lammy nominated Jude Martin. Thank you so much, everyone.
Hello, everyone. As mentioned, I'm June Martin. I had a note in here that I was going to mention my own Lambda shortlist, but everyone else has done it for me. Visual note, I am a white trans woman with shoulder-length blonde hair, a little bit of visible roots, but it's not too bad. Behind me, there is an old CRT monitor and some other little screens on the wall with some stuff coming out, kind of mysterious. I'm not going to explain what it is, though. The piece I'm reading tonight is a short work of fiction titled They're Gonna Boil You. Baby, they're gonna beat you silly. For the truth, for nothing less than the truth. Everyone was afraid to say it. I was afraid to say it, but we have a duty. We are given this brief touch of grace on our souls, the grace that allows us to peer out at the world and appraise it for truth and falsity. What a waste not to do it. What an abdication. And yet I'm not rewarded for being the only one to act. I'm scared. I'm despised. They should hoist me on their shoulders. They should build a statue of me. Not a big one. A token statue. Instead, vitriol. Baby, they're gonna boil you. They will. There's nothing I can do. They won't listen to me no matter what I say. It's like I've lost my humanity in their eyes. Worse than a dog. A dog gets understanding. A dog gets pity. A dog gets a bowl of slop at the end of the day. What do I get? I'm entitled to nothing but violence. Maybe I'll never leave this room again. I'll tear my name off the social contract. I'll repent of the sin of language and forsake manhood to live as lonely meat. Baby, they're gonna break you open. If they can, I'll bite and scratch. I'll tear out throats and splatter their blood. I'll paint this room so red it dries black. There's no room for discussion left. They have abandoned reason, the dignity that the mind gives us, and I'll abandon it with them. But they don't have courage. They won't drop anything they can't pick up again. I can't lose what they've stolen from me, and I'll steal back. I'll take everything from them. Baby, they're gonna bash you to bits. I'm gonna die. It was a mistake. I wasn't wrong, but it was a mistake. There were dreams, goals, consequences of my life that I intended to ripple out from atop the pond. Nothing. A miserable dank splash in immediate stillness. A dark mirror that refuses to reflect. When I'm gone, will it be like I never existed? Will you still love me when I'm dead? Baby, this is why they're going to kill you. It's not truth. It's not courage. You ask for things you have no right to. Will I love you? No. Love is for the living. And that's it. Thank you so much. Next up is Erica Turner.
That was awesome. Thanks so much, June. I'm Erica Turner. I am a Black woman wearing a black tank top with curly hair, and my hair is on top of my head. I mean, obviously, but like piled on top of my head. And I'm like weirdly nervous, probably because I had to go after June, which I think is not fair. So I'm a 2012 nonfiction fellow, but I am a cross-genre writer. Lambda was my first like experience doing like real writing, and I still feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm cosplaying a little bit. But I'm gonna be reading from my forthcoming novel. It's not out yet, but it will be in 2026. It's called When We Almost Came Undone. And it's a young adult contemporary novel. It's set during the week in 2020 when George Floyd died. So trigger warning for police brutality. Okay. Oh my goodness, here I go. When we get to Alexis's place, 20 minutes later, she throws her seatbelt off, then sprints up the stairs to her second floor apartment. I barely have time to follow her through the gate of her small complex and past her front door as she hurries over to Poirot's kennel and unlatches the lock. A tiny mass of short, light brown fur and skinny legs propels itself through the air, accompanied by a high-pitched puppy bark as Poirot yells in joy. His pointy, black-tipped ears are pulled so far back that they're pinned to the skull of his little head, and his small pink tongue attacks every inch of Alexis's skin it can reach, which Alexis, to her credit, tries to keep from her face. Instead, she presses her cheek to the side of his squirmy belly and apologizes for how long she was out. "It's okay, my sweet little baby. It's okay," she coos. She risks a quick nuzzle to his smushed black snout, dodging his tongue again as I pretend not to gag. Then I step further into her apartment. "Oh," I say, "it smells awful in here." "I know," she says apologetically. "He's still learning to hold it, and I was gone for a while." She picks Poirot up and inspects his butt and paws as if he were a newborn human child, even as his long, skinny tail whips around wildly in excitement. Apparently satisfied that he's not covered in his own poop, she plops him back on the ground and hurries to the kitchen. "Just gotta clean this up," she says, "and then I'll spray the house." She hurries between his kennel by the front door and the bathroom at the back of the apartment, while I reconsider my decision to stay with her for the weekend. Poirot sniffs my shoes, and I lift up my feet and step back. I need to be wary of falling prey to whatever curse he's cast on my sister, lest I too become a maidservant to the fur prince. "Okay," Alexis says finally, huffing as she wipes her forehead. "All done. I just have to take him out." "But he already went," I tell her, in case she's forgotten the last 10 minutes. I wonder if baby brain applies to dog moms. "Yeah," she says, "but it's part of his training. So even though he's already gone, he's got to get used to the routine of going out when I get home, so that eventually he learns that I will come home to let him out, and then he learns to hold it." "Sure," I say, because whatever. "Why not just get a chia pet? I'm pretty sure they don't leave your house smelling like feces." "Cool," she says, then hesitates. "Wait, it's Friday night. I have to take out the trash too." "Right now?" "Yeah, trash day is tomorrow. They come at like 7 a.m." She sighs, and for a split second, my usually calm and collected big sister looks like she might become a complete and total wreck. "Okay, first I'll take out Poirot, and then I'll take out the trash, and then where does the trash go?" I put in. I cannot take this level of logistics at 9 o'clock at night. "Downstairs," she says, looking at me like I've just shown her the elixir of life, "just behind the building." As she outfits Poirot with a tiny black and gold harness, I consolidate the trash from her kitchen and bathroom and trudge back outside. I'm not usually so helpful, but I hate seeing Alexis look so lost. It was only a split second, but the idea that she too might have the ability to break gives me a deep and probing terror. I don't want to imagine it. Not again. The first time I saw Alexis break, I was 10 years old. She was 25. I was sitting with mom and dad on our couch, watching a Bridezilla's rerun. Mel was already on a date with a girl who wasn't going to last the week, which we knew because she had a crush on a different girl she'd met at a concert 2 days before. We'd even placed bets because it was funny, even though Mel said we were jerks and that we were taking nonchalant allyship too far. Alexis was in the kitchen, shoulders tense, brows furrowed, as she looked at her laptop. She was keeping track of the news, then, "It's coming. They're about to announce the verdict." Suddenly, the mood in the room changed. My parents sat up straighter. Dad leaned forward and changed the channel to the local news station. Mom put her hands on the pearls around her neck. Alexis came and sat next to me, her arm around my shoulder, like she was trying to protect me, though I didn't understand why. "Do you think they'll convict him?" Alexis asked. Dad took a deep breath and raised his shoulders. Mom just pursed her lips. "It's pretty cut and dry to me, though," Alexis kept talking. "Trayvon did absolutely nothing wrong. He went to the store, and Zimmerman, who isn't even a police officer, thought he looked suspicious and shot him. That's murder, right? Plain and simple. You can't just kill someone because you don't like their vibe." Still, our parents didn't respond. I looked at them and looked then at Alexis. They were talking about a black kid who'd been shot the year before. I heard about him, knew what he looked like. Based on what Alexis was saying, it seemed to make sense. A kid was killed. Why wouldn't the adult who killed him go to prison? "It's such an obvious win," Alexis went on, Like she was trying to convince us that there wasn't any other option. Like there was no point in us even watching because, of course, Trayvon would get justice. Of course, the killer would go to jail. Of course, of course, of course. But that's not what happened. The killer was acquitted of all charges. He got to walk away scot-free. And I got to watch my big sister sob as my mom put her arms around her, whispering like it could be some comfort to hear. It's okay, baby. This happens. It happens all the time. Okay. Next up is William Kaiser.
Thank you, Erica. That was awesome. Hello, I'm William Kaiser. I'm from the screenwriting cohort in 2024, and I would also like to welcome some of my former cohort mates, Max, Lukey, and Millie, who will be helping me read my excerpt today. This is an excerpt from a short film called Will Call, and it's about a dance critic who finally decides to bring her new gentleman friend to work with her. Visual description, I am a white person with curly brown hair wearing a midnight blue silk shirt in an attic. Okay.
Okay. Fade in, exterior, Coke Theater, Lincoln Center, night. Martin Seligman, a white-haired man in his 60s, and Daphne Passilidis, late 50s, a petite woman with strong dark features and coiffed hair, walk arm in arm.
Go on. Tell me what you thought.
You don't want to hear it.
What do you mean? Of course I do. I want the first unvarnished impression of New York Times dance critic Daphne Passilidis. Or is that considered insider trading?
Daphne studies Martin. Her skeptical expression melts to one of hope, then hardens again.
Beyond technical errors, of which there were many, both soloists were dead fish. But worse, they were cowards. The soloist's smile was terrible, the cheapest kind of obsequious flattery, an attempt to get the audience to like her and distract from the fact that she can't interpret a single step in a half-interesting way.
Daphne stops short and throws her head back. She bares her teeth in a grotesque hyena grin, affecting ballet movements to go with it. She imitates a dancer, bowing and accepting flowers, milks the bit, and pauses for laughter, which doesn't come. Daphne drops her expression. Martin and Daphne walk a bit in silence.
You're going to write that?
Of course not. I would be fired.
What do you mean you would be fired? Aren't you the chief critic? You can write whatever you want.
Daphne takes a cigarette out of her coat pocket and lights it.
No, Martin, I can't. Maybe in the 80s, but not now. Because dance is a dying art form, unlike film or photography. I unfortunately cannot write whatever I want, much less authentically convey how shit that was, because I need the companies to survive. And whatever I write, well-educated gentlemen like you will continue to take pride in their total ignorance about any ballet except the fucking Nutcracker.
She blows smoke and walks past him, then stops rigidly.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is why I waited to take you. This is why I waited.
Martin smiles and offers a hand on her shoulder.
It's okay.
Interior, Daphne's apartment, night. A closet-sized apartment, just room enough for a bed, a dresser, and a small kitchen. Every wall is covered with framed 1970s dance company tour posters. On the bed, Martin and Daphne kiss passionately. Then he moves down her body with his lips, dipping under the covers. A moment before reaching her crotch, he jerks up and bobs his head out from under the blanket.
Martin, everything okay?
What's so wrong about smiling with your mouth open?
What?
Why does her facial expression matter?
Whose facial expression? My facial expression?
The soloist, the one you picked apart. Do you have any idea how you look right now?
Oh,
Daphne answers in the same low, determined voice as earlier when she said she'd be fired for writing her candid thoughts.
that's different. A dancer has to put all communication into the body itself.
Do, do, do you actually care about that? Is that what you do to people? Criticize the way they move their eyelashes? Is that what you're doing to me?
No,
Because if you have a problem with such small
because it's
details,
not my job to criticize you.
then it might be really, really hard to date you.
A still moment. Martin starts putting his pants back on. His posture turns inward. It looks as though he feels contrite. And that's the end.
And now it is my pleasure to announce the 5-minute break.
Thank you, William. See everyone in 5 minutes at 10 after. Take a bio break. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I hope your 5 minutes was nourishing or whatever you needed it to be. I am happy to welcome our next reader, Milo Todd.
Thank you, Chloe. Hi, folks. I am Milo Todd. I was in the fiction cohort for the 2019 retreat, which was the last retreat before COVID. So, such simple times back in the day. I'm politely foregoing a visual self-description since I have my camera off. But I wanted to say congratulations to the latest group of folks for the Lambda retreat. It was an awesome experience for me, and I hope that it is for you too. So I'm going to be reading from my debut, The Lilac People, which just came out this past April, late April. And it's a work of deeply researched historical fiction about the trans community in Germany before and after Hitler's rise to power and World War II. Wasn't meant to be timely, but here we are. So I'll be specifically reading today from a scene in which the protagonist, Bertie, who we'd likely today call a trans man, is talking with Dr. Magnus Hirschfeld, who, if you're not familiar with him, did a ton of stuff for the queer and trans communities during the Weimar era in Germany. One quick note, the book uses the terms of the time, so the word transvestite is essentially the word transgender today, and invert is generally queer or gay folks, but was especially used in relation to gay cis men at the time. "Why do you do it, sir?" he asked. "I know you'd look after your own kind, that makes sense, but why do you do so much for transvestites, too?" Dr. Hirschfeld looked away as if ashamed. He seemed to be choosing his words. "If I'm being honest, Bertie, my reasons are quite selfish." He paused a moment, finally faced him. "Do you know about the canaries? The little yellow songbirds? For 20 years now, miners in Britain and America have taken cages of them down into the mines while they work to detect carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide is odorless, tasteless, cannot be seen. It'll also kill you in an instant. When a canary stopped singing, when it became ill or acted unusually, the workers would flee back above ground. When we started using mustard gas during the war, their soldiers once again brought canaries when they tunneled." Bertie did not know why he was telling him this, and he did not like being reminded of the mustard gas. "Why canaries? Why not another animal?" He shrugged. "They were the most vulnerable." Bertie waited for more, still not fully understanding. "A country is only as strong as its most vulnerable people. And you, son, if you may forgive me for saying, are on the lowest rung of the ladder. You're a canary, Bertie. Transvestites are the canaries of the world. You know from our own library that bad people always go after transvestites first, no matter the country or culture. They're the first ones removed when an environment turns poisonous. What makes it more worrisome is you represent everything. You represent housing and job security and access to health care. You represent workers' rights and voting rights and full stomachs and freedom. And perhaps most importantly of all, you represent the right to body and personhood. You represent a country not owning you, not using you however benefits a select few at the top. You represent a country of a people, not a country of the dominant. If transvestites are under attack, then the whole of the country is on the brink of destruction. If transvestites are cared for, the rest of us are cared for. You touch everything a strong society has to offer. We could work, we could eat, we could be healthy, we could live in safe homes, we could decline to fight in unnecessary wars. Our country would be honest. We would no longer be tricked. Our country would take care of us, and we, in turn, would take care of our country. So as long as transvestites are okay, we know society is too. That's why I'm here for you. Because I love my country. That's terrible, though, Bertie said. Being forced into a cage to see if you die first. Dr. Hirschfeld nodded a quiet agreement. If it helps, they love those birds. Having them around brightens their spirits, and they carry them out with them during a scare to try and resuscitate them. They search for them through the rubble after bombings. It's not a perfect analogy, but it's something that stuck in my head for a long time. He sighed. What I'm saying is, don't regard me too heroically. I care about you because I care about everyone. Nothing I'm doing here is noble or generous. It's simply common sense. It's simply humanity. No person should encourage the suffering of another. There's already too much given by nature. And when a person encourages the suffering of another, you can bet they won't stop there. They want to see it because they hope it will fill the emptiness inside themselves, but it won't because it never does. And so they'll look for the next one, and the next one, and the one after that. Dr. Hirschfeld looked out the window a moment at the large elm rustling in the light spring breeze. Any invert who thinks Hitler will stop at transvestites is a fool. And any person who thinks Hitler will stop at inverts thereafter is just as foolish. They try to convince people that you're the only group they're after, when really you're just the first one. They look for the first domino to knock down, the one people will give the least resistance to, the one they care about the least. And once they've done it, it might be too late for everyone else. Thank you very much for giving me a moment of your time here. Again, congrats to the upcoming cohort. You folks are rock stars. The alum lineup here is rock stars. I'm so honored to be, among all you folks here right now. So thank you very much. Up next is Taylor Allison Lewis.
Hi everybody. I'm Taylor. Thank you so much for being here. For a visual description, I'm a Black trans man. I have a goatee and rectangular glasses. I have what's up, Chloe? What's up, girl? I have a dreadlock Robert, which is a bob that has grown out past my shoulders. I have a white t-shirt on. I'm in my studio apartment from the greatest city on earth, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I have two poems for you. Lambda changed my life. It's an honor to be here. Not only did it change my life professionally, I changed my life deeply personally. One of the things that Lambda did for me is it made me even gayer. So I'm going to be reading a poem about that. So this first poem is called Oh, So You Doing the Bending. All right, let's get it started. Oh, so you doing the bending? Well, yes. I stretched something inside of myself. I stuttered and bent like the fig tree on West Donovan in my grandparents' yard, heavy with the surprise of my fertility. How old was that tree? Older than we were? Or perhaps it was timeless, the life of the creature inside. Sweet heaviness in the sticky Houston air, I pulled the fruit from its umbilical cord. I killed the part of myself that would weigh a bow down. I chose plucking over falling. The world is so full of ripe collapsing, so full of collapse. Nothing can make sense except this sameness. Your friend calls this homosexuality. Sycamore tree bark sloughs out of the heavens. This is like my skin, you say. Wordlessly, I open myself up to you. I touch myself. I beg you to follow me. I open my mouth. I've eaten my own tongue, your eyes, the light that met them, the calluses of your thumbs over your eyelids. Don't, I say. Please don't take that understanding from me. You drove me 2 hours to a green Atlantic Ocean, a living sea. 90 degrees and the surf collapsed on the seabank. I wanted to suck the salt from your mouth and chin, to feel the force of the Atlantic crash into your chest. I willed my palm to mimic our current. I drummed the heel of my hand against you. When the water pushed you away, I pulled you closer. Let me be honest about collapse, about the stars, about children, about how I feel. Let me be honest about how completely I can manipulate myself. I am so flexible. Look at me. I fell down. It's impossible to rupture. It is possible to rupture. It is possible. All right. The next poem is about, I teach high school. Nothing has radicalized me more than teaching and being in community with children, with youth who are marginalized simply because of where they are born. I want to say free Palestine from the river to the sea. No, the children are ours. They are all of ours. They are all of us. So this is for my kids, and it's called Dysregulation Dialectics. When my boss tells me he loves me, I know that love has run its course of usefulness for me. I'm far less devotional lately. I used to buy special pens to write my poems, used to need to feel the glide of ink on a Moleskine notebook. Now I steal technical school pens and broken pencils from my students' desks. This is a time to write with anything I can get my hands on. I have nightmares about pointing white college students to the symbolism in Sula, nightmares about failing my certification coursework, fuck love, scrap paper. This is not America's next top best friend. This is hell. This is high school. The knot on my tie rubs my Adam's apple raw. I rub the scab with Aquaphor. I ain't know silk could scab. Then Edward Chestnut say, that's cause you be wearing them fucking ties, which I take to mean, you like us, Mr. Taylor. They tell you what to do and you fucking do it. You thought you was white, you got my mind and my mouth, and now you got a nigga's mark on your throat. Anybody who ever said they loved a nigga, who themselves was not a nigga, lied. This is the ultimate lesson of my life. Perpetual student. I've been so alive. Thank you. Up next is Azure Osborne Lee.
Hi, that's me. Thank you, Taylor. That was great. Amazing. Yes, Bobbert. Okay. Hi, I'm Azure Osborne Lee. My pronouns are he and they. I am a fat Black transsexual hottie living in Brooklyn. I've got a hydrangea faux background, and I'm wearing a Black hoodie and these new glasses I got that make me look like a supervillain. So let's get into it. I have a short play that I just wrote. I refused to practice because that felt like work. So I'm gonna just read it and we're gonna see what happens. It's called BRICK, or Brick. A capital letter B is projected on the wall, then disappears. Is there a slight buzzing sound? Could be. A single actor occupies the space and, taking their time, directly addresses the audience. That's you. B's were the tipping point, when we were really and truly fucked, only we were too stupid to know it yet. They told us, you know who I mean, that the B's disappearance was no big deal. Nothing special, totally normal, maybe even a good thing, an improvement, progress, inevitable, evolution. And out of desperation, we, the people, decided to believe them. We bought into the smear campaign until it was too late. Bees are replaceable. Old hat and fake news. We've got an army of drones that can do the same thing, only better. Pollinating America with style. Imagine it. Shining silver eagles, flying, flapping freedom flags, swooping low into grass, crops, flowers, whatever you do. Why, the majesty alone is enough to get anybody to reproduce. So, bees, who needs them? Certainly not you, and definitely not me. Complete economic collapse followed quickly behind. But even then, they had quick answers for us. Blame the Chinese, the Russians, the Muslims, the gays. So that's why I asked you here today. Are you better with negotiation or direct action? Lights change. A capital R is projected on the wall, then disappears. Light footsteps in darkness. A bird calls. Another bird responds. More footsteps in the dark, then. Are you here? Yeah. Where? Here. A few more footsteps, then a pause. You didn't bring a light? I forgot it. Man, you gonna get us caught. They walk together, whisper following hush. I wasn't sure I'd make it. With all the flooding, it's hard to even know. There it is. Careful. Don't get too close. You'll activate the last brick was harvested in Harlem from a crumbling brownstone in 2052. A flashlight illuminates a clear case with an embedded speaker. Shut it off! Shut it off! How do I do that? Do I just stop moving or hit a button? How would I know? Just do something. Hush looks around frantically, then muffles the speaker with her ass. Nice work. Very smooth. When the muffled voice stops playing, Whisper relaxes. What now? You stay there and block the sensor. I'll bag the stuff. Then we split up. Got it. Hush hands the flashlight off to Whisper and walks off into the dark. Hey, hold the light steady. Hold it up, hold it up. Whisper stretches high and stumbles. The flashlight falls to the ground. The last brick was harvested in Harlem from a crumbling brownstone in 2052. Footsteps and then a loud crash. Then the sounds of running. Hey, where are you going? Don't leave me here. Wait, don't go. The flashlight goes out. The wail of approaching sirens growing closer in the background. Wait, comrade, wait! Comrade? Lights change. A capital letter I is projected on the wall, then disappears. Mercury enters, taking a moment before speaking to the audience. I want you to know, friends, that I know what you're feeling. Missing a comrade, it's a devastating kind of loss. And that ache, it's the kind that burrows, the kind that can eat at you right down to the core. But be careful, my friends, of that rotten feeling. Don't let it grow. Don't let it spread. Grief can lead us to question our values, or even worse, to question the cause. Yes, remember the fallen and honor their sacrifice. And never forget who started this all. A capital letter C is projected on the wall, then disappears. A soup line forms. 3 people, including Hush, take turns receiving rations. Swift marches back and forth, ensuring things run smoothly. Cooperation is key, people. Cooperation is what? Cooperation is key. That's right. And what else? Consolidation. Hell yes. Consolidation. Consolidation is key. What else? Communication. Oh, yeah. Communication. Communication is key. One more. Consideration. Say what? Consideration. Say it again. I dare you. Consideration. Stop! Hush steps forward, hefting a worn old brick. They lift it in the air. I'll smash it. I swear I'll do it. Swift backs up from Comrade 2, marches up to Hush, and yanks the brick out of their hands. Swift gives the group dirty looks, then stalks away. A capital letter K is projected on the wall, then disappears. Mercury steps out again, this time holding the brick. Key. Kill. Ken. Keen, kick, kept, kid, king, keel, not, no, night, new. Funny what a brick can do. Lights out, the sound of glass breaking, end of play. And next up, it is my pleasure to introduce Tommy Pico.
Oh, that was amazing. Um, Hi, what's up? How come I'm come on? My name is Tommy Pico. For visual reference, I'm a cis, indigenous male in my early 40s. Although you wouldn't know that unless I told you because I'm like keeping it together. And also, I've got a bunch of plant thingies in the background, which will become, a part of the thing that I'm writing or that I'm reading this evening. Lambda Literary just really did change my life. I'm going to tell you that much. 2013, that summer, not only was it the workshop experience and the writing itself, but it was also the cohort and the people that I met there. Like, Kristen Arnett was my year. I officiated her wedding last year. Like, I still remain close to so many of those people, Josh Barton and people like that. And then, like, uh, the end of 2013 was when I started writing my first book. And if I didn't have Lambda, I wouldn't have had the tools to be able to start that book. And because of that book, I was interviewed in the New Yorker. And because of that interview in the New Yorker, I was commissioned to write a feature by a company in New York. And Sterling Harjo read that script and he became the showrunner, the executive producer and the director and one of the writers of Reservation Dogs, which is this television show on Hulu and FX that I became on the writing staff for. For 3 years, I wrote on my favorite show, and it ushered in this whole new career that I'm having as a television writer in Los Angeles. So I will just say that Lambda Literary is 100% a karmic exercise. You will get out of it what you put into it. So put your whole self into it and get ready for the rest of your life to change. So I'm going to be reading a poem that just came out in the latest Yale review, which is their summer fiction issue. So that's kind of cool or whatever. And it's called Cruising at the Plant Shop with Pink Eye. I'm surveying the damage after a storm. We made out on my couch for 3 hours, and then I made him leave. Chocolate-covered, gummy, thin mint, confident sleeve of double stuffed. It's always too much or never enough. Graham cracker, Betty Crocker, vanilla bean, fluff. I'm surveying the damage after a storm. Upturned pillows on my sectional, spilled Sancerre, my Martha Stewart face of rigid vulnerability. Dr. John adjusts his glasses, asks if I'm compartmentalizing. Membrane of the days dissolve into our new season, and Cardi B says, "What was the reason?" It was never physical. Where does this come from? Asks Dr. John. I tell Alex, I asked for this. I'm getting what I want. The present progressive, the unfinished spine, arriving to arrival for the sake of arriving, a bed of soft brownie butter under us in the hard candy crystals of geologic time. Emily sounds like cotton candy at the Huntington Gardens among the lemon lime philodendrons and the pines. Active Ozymandias in the candy aisle, Cassandra of hot cocoa with the mini marshmallows, Enhedwana of marijuana gummies, the only pedestrian in LA skirting pedestrian colored clouds hiding atmospheric lakes. The sun is undefeated on Western, on Fountain, on Wiltern, on Beverly, on Highland, on Sunset, on Pico, cruising at the plant shop with Pink Eye. I tell Dr. John, I'm doing things again. The being seen thing. I'm trying to be sweet. A repeating pattern of saccharides. It was never physical. We made out for 3 hours, and then I made him leave my house. Dane says balletic sveltness. Mato says big lavender energy. Andy says sunrise tuxedo. Morgan says crying on the picket line. Alex says the sea is attracted to everyone. Olivia says Dracula walked that fucking duck. When does sweetness go from enriching an experience to distracting from one? It was never physical, I tell Dr. John. Nerds, rope, chocolate-covered cookie dough bites, sweet tarts, starbursts, the kinetic impacts in space, the formation of organic lifesavers. Lord love a gummy strawberry, frozen margarita, salt rim, boozy milkshake McFlurry. Chantal says neuroplasticity. Nikki says past lives. Dane says Coke bottle gummies, Cadbury cream eggs, and sour watermelon slices. Andy says Twix. Bobby says Reese's. Mato says tropical mini Swedish fish and sweet tart ropes. Christine says high chews. Olivia says M&Ms. Tasva says strawberry Sour Patch straws. Alex says golden wrapped gummy bears. Luke says Hong Yuan classic series guava. We made out in my house and then I made him leave. I'm surveying the damage after a storm, I tell my audience. But there's no after a storm. It's just time in between. At lunch, he says, we can go slow. Says he's a safe harbor. Says he's not my ex, but all I see are choppy seas and craggy pop rocks. Tasba says grand entry. Nikki says juice cleanse. Bobby says rare earth magnets. Morgan says meds. Morgan says shift freedom. Christine says severance. My body is doing donuts. The pants are coming off and then the pants are gone. The Kelly Clarkson show is on. Nothing makes sense, but everything makes perfect sense, like a Bjork song. We made out for 3 hours, and then I made him leave my house. It tasted like blood orange soda from the Franprix and getting fingered on the river. It was never physical, I tell Dr. John. I'm just afraid of checking my messages, of answering my phone. I'm afraid of getting home. But it was never physical. So I move across to the other side of the country. Do you think there are other people in other places? Says Jodie Foster's kid version of Dr. Eleanor Arroway in 1997's Contact is played by Jenna Malone, who I probably know from Saved or Donnie Darko, but wish I could say Bastard out of Carolina. Hey, he says, I can go if that's what you want. I say Song of India. I say Sansevieria Starfish. I say Sansevieria Midnight. I say Sansevieria Moonshine. I say Green Bean Peperomia. I say Pearls and Jade. I say Various Monstera. I say Alacasia. I say, hey, he says. Alex says UFO plant. Morgan says weird ass pileas. Olivia says peace lily. Joe says Monstera adansoni. Alia says falsaralia. Migazy says ZZ. Sarah says apodopathos. Nikki says money tree. Roy says bird of paradise. He says, help me with my prayer plant. It's got crispy edges. Den says tricolor syngonium, white albo, pink splash, prince of orange, global green, gold dust croton, wandering purple, queen marble. He's not your ex, says Dr. John. I'm not him, he says. If you feel it in your body, it is physical. I survey the storm. We're on the slate gray sectional. Pure marzipan light beams from a tightly coiled mass of arms and legs and spread intentions. Well, you gotta trim back the dead edges, I say. The plant can't save them and shouldn't try. By pruning, the plant can focus on new growth. Cloud numbers drift across the winter green sky. I say, can we do this? I ask, can we do this? Karaoke Tuesdays, natural wine, wingtips and two steps, holding hands on the picket line, fiber cookies, Hoya hearts, farmers markets, staying the night. Thank you.
Ah, This is what I am talking about, everyone. Y'all are here, and look at who we have who came before you. This was an amazing reading tonight. These readings remind me why I love this job. They're our favorite part of the retreat. Thank you so much to our readers. Thank you to our interpreters, Gloshanda and Kafi. And I think that's it, y'all. Next day, we have our faculty reading. So we're going to get to see more amazing readers. And then we're going to keep seeing amazing readers all week with our 2025 fellows. I'm so happy we got to kick this 10 days off with our alumni who just read. Stay for a screenshot picture, please. And the rest of y'all, get out of here. I love you all. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night. Thank you. I'm obsessed with everyone. What the hell? Thank you. Thank you. Yes, let's get a picky. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna turn off my video. Okay. You all are seriously amazing. I am obsessed with you. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh, not that little sound. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, wait.